Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
Hey everybody, it's Tuesday night, time for another live Wicked Horror Show. I'm Kevin, and as always, I'm joined by the lovely Miss Tony Has Nine Fingers.
Ooh, what is going on, people?
And our guest is running a little bit late, so we decided to start the show, and she's just going to join us when she jumps in. But do you want to, well, before we talk about the guest, do you want to talk about anything else?
I mean, I wasn't planning on it, but I mean, we can.
I just saw over the weekend, I finally watched that movie Weapons.
I did too.
Did you really?
Yes, I actually.
We're both wicked late to the game, but what did you think of it?
Well, I found out after that it was directed by the same guy who did Barbarian.
Yeah.
So it made a lot more sense after. And I was very surprised. And that ending, I was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh, okay. But I actually liked it a lot. I was like a toss up because I heard like iffy things about it.
Yeah.
But finally sat down to watch it, and I was like, I
You
enjoyed it.
enjoyed it. Nice. I did as well, but our special guest is here. So before I add her in, do you want to introduce our very special guest?
Sure, from the movie that's in theaters right now. I believe it's in select theaters. I could be wrong. The movie Traumatika. She was also in Crust and TV shows and all that stuff. But I think we're going to focus on that. Rebekah Kennedy.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on.
So I grabbed the trailer, and I want to play the trailer like later on in the show. But as far as this movie goes, this looks pretty insane. This looks pretty intense.
Yeah. That is, I think, putting it mildly. Yes.
So is this limited run right now?
Yeah. So yes. And it's still in a few cities. It's still in Dallas. It's still in San Antonio. It's still in California. It's still in a few places, but it was like a weekend during, and then the week, and then now it's like just a couple of places still. But yeah.
And do you know when it's going to be available, like for streaming, or is it going to be soon, or?
Yeah, so it'll be on all the places to rent VOD on October 7th.
Oh wow!
So not that long, and then I'm sure after that it'll go to a streaming service as well. I'm sure, but
nice.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of indie horror. How even though it's a limited run, it's now getting its spotlight in the theaters. Where years beforehand, that was like almost unheard of. So
it was very. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, being able to even if it's select theaters, getting it into on the big screen is like a step up from what it used to be.
Oh yeah, it was very cool. I went back to Texas for the weekend because my parents hadn't seen it. I'm from there, so I got to watch it in that theater with my family, which was really cool because, like you said, it's not often that a indie film gets any kind of theater release, and we had a pretty good one. So it was very cool to sit. They've seen my films in the theater, but a lot of times it's like the premiere of the movie or that or a special screening. But to like go and it be like a normal showing, random people we don't know coming, sitting in there and watching it like with the previews, it just was a very cool experience.
What was their reaction to? Because it looks, like I said, it looks crazy. Like it. Like, how was their reaction to what they saw?
Yeah, they were definitely, yeah, there was a few times my mom had to look away. I won't spoil anything, but
Jeez.
there's a particular scene that, like, they went and saw it twice. We went to Friday night and Saturday night because there were people that I knew. Since I'm from the area, there were people that were coming that I knew. And both times she had to look away at the same scene.
Oh wow.
Though she knew. But yeah, I mean, they thought it was a really fun, crazy, intense ride for sure as well. And my sister went and saw it in Houston, in the Houston area. So I had friends in San Antonio that went. So it was very people from all different areas. So it was very cool to have like a space where people could go watch it the way that it's really meant to be seen. You know.
Yeah.
Especially like sometimes you do have like a premiere and stuff, but if it's in one area, sometimes people can't, go and check it out. But having it in many theaters, it's like, okay, yeah, you don't have to be here at a specific time, but now you got on your own accordance, or hopefully it's around where you are. So
Yeah, and if not, like if the people that it wasn't playing around or people didn't get a chance, like you said, it'll be coming on digital soon. So that's a nice thing is people don't have to wait too long, because then you build up a lot of the momentum, a lot of the press, and if if you wait too long, people lose interest. So it's nice that it's going to be available for everyone in just a few weeks.
Yeah. So you've been acting for a while. Like started on stage according to IMDb. I know like not all the times it's correct, but do you have like we focus on horror, but we're fans of like every genre for the most part. Do you have a favorite genre or something that you prefer over anything else?
Oh, sorry, you broke up, so I missed the last part of the question.
Do you have a favorite genre that you like to act in over anything else?
I mean, not really. I mean, I've done a lot of horror and I really enjoy it. I mean, I've been watching horror since I was like 11 years old. And so I have a very special place in my heart for it. So I'm very thankful to be able to do it. It wasn't what I set out to do necessarily as an actor. It wasn't like I'm going to do horror. It just worked out that way.
Hmm.
I am thankful for it. And I said, no matter where my career goes, I will always come back to doing this as well because I really enjoy it. I find it to be a challenge. There's not a genre I like more than anything else. It's more the story, the character. Does that appeal to me? Is the story interesting? Is the character someone I want to bring to life? What else? What are you trying to say with it? What is the message? What is this something I've never done? That appeals to me more than like what the genre is. And of course, in the indie space, horror is going to dominate because it's very hard to get people to like watch an indie drama unless there's big names, or an indie comedy unless there's big names. It's tough. So horror, of course, there's going to be a lot more of it in the independent world because the horror fans are like no other fans of any other genre. You guys know you're diehard. You'll watch most anything, if it sounds interesting. People are a little more forgiving of horror because you're waiting for like, okay, what's going to happen? Is it scary? Is it gory? Whatever it is. Versus, watching two people sit and have coffee is tough unless it's really well done, right? So that's probably what I'm going to be doing a lot of is horror because that's what's being made.
Nice.
now with this one, you were saying you get with the character and stuff. If you when you read for Traumatika, like were you reading it and you're like, how am I going to do this? Because just I didn't get to see the movie, but just from the trailer, it looks like it must have been a little tough to get into.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the reasons I wanted to do it, right? Was the challenge. Of course, with anything, you read something and you're like, oh yeah, this is going to be a challenge, can't wait. And then you're like, oh God, now I have to do it. Like, I hope I can. And that was, without giving too much away, the juxtaposition of her character is, she's presented as the villain when you first meet her and she's doing horrific things. And then you find out as the film progresses why she's doing what she's doing and what, the trauma that she's gone through has made her into who she is. And I thought that was really interesting and would be a cool challenge for myself as an actor to play both sides and the layers, because, people aren't just one thing. We're all many things, right? And there's many layers to us. So I thought that would be a cool challenge. And it was one of the more physical films I've done for sure. I did all my own stunts. So the running on all fours in the trailer, that's me. Like everything you see in the film is me. I didn't have a stunt double. So that was a challenge and fun to figure out how I was going to make that work. And Pierre, our director, would send me like TikToks of videos that he's like, okay, I want to see if we can put this in, or like this dance might be fun, or what can we do with this? And then we would just, experiment on set and see what worked.
And he did the Two Witches too, right?
That's the same creators. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because that, I saw that movie, and it's very deep, so I could just imagine how this one is as well. The thing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, working with them was a joy on that film. I mean, I came in late on Two Witches. The original actress couldn't do it, and so Christina Cleve, who plays my roommate in the movie, she was like, I think I know someone, and she recommended me to the director, and I sent over my stuff, and we chatted, and he's like, I think this is a good fit. And I, never played a witch. I'd never played someone that evil. So I thought it would be really fun. And someone that she really is. But like you said, it is deep. There is more to her than meets the eye. I mean, she really is somebody that's lost and lonely and like is trying to fit in, but going about it all the wrong way. Kind of my little nod to, like the Carrie, the May, like those kind of iconic characters that are amazing. And so working with them, I knew on this film would be, this, is a much more intense, if you can believe it, in certain aspects. But I knew that they were going to take care of me on set,
Did it make it that much easier having worked with them before? You know exactly what they might have wanted, or like, what they're kind of looking for in their production?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely have a shorthand, and we have a.
Dope.
They trust. Sorry,
You
did you lose me?
Yeah, you disappeared for like a second, and then you popped right back.
I'm back.
Yeah.
It's see it on our end, so I don't know what I don't know what we caught and what we didn't. So, yeah, I mean, there is a shorthand because we explicitly trust each other. They trust me, I trust them. So they don't, it's funny because on an indie film, you would think, oh, you have less time because you're moving fast. You don't have a lot of money. You have less takes, which is all true. But they are able to create an environment that feels like I can play and discover kind of while we're doing it. Because, you don't have a lot of rehearsal time. There just isn't that space. It's mostly for the camera, for blocking, to make sure it's safe, figure out what you're doing. But there's not a ton of rehearsal, and there's not really any because you just don't have that kind of privilege on an indie film. And so a lot of it is trust and making sure that we're comfortable, and they create an environment where I feel like I can do my best work in that space. And I'd work with them as long as they would have me, just because I know that they're going to create something fun and unique and give me the time to find it.
Yeah, because we noticed, it's never a bad thing, but it's one of those things where, indie, you have to kind of like find ways around certain things. So if you work with, okay, I know I worked with them before, they work with me, we kind of don't have to break that ice in the beginning. It's kind of like, okay, any workaround that we can do is always helpful.
Yeah, exactly. Because you kind of know how they work, and there's no surprises with that. And it's like, why wouldn't you work with people that are gonna bring 110%? It just makes sense. And on For Two Witches, because you've seen that one, the first scene I shot was my first scene of that chapter, was with me and the guy. That was the first thing we shot. So it was like, okay, here we go. Like, I hope they're cool because we're just diving right in. And that, as scary as that was being the first scene, it was also helpful to me because then I understood like, okay, they're gonna be respectful and like respect the space and the time and like what we need, and they weren't rushing, they weren't making me feel like uncomfortable in any way, and that was like the best way to find that out because that was a difficult scene in that regard. And when you're just meeting people for the first time, it's like you're kind of throwing yourself in, and that was a great kind of way to break the ice and know that like, okay, they're gonna like, I can trust them.
That works.
Nice. So, just real quick, Sergio's in the chat saying hi. And Sergio usually asks if there's a trailer, so I'm going to cut you off before that, Sergio. There is a trailer, and I'm curious on his thoughts on the trailer once we play it, because usually like he's like, nope, or like if it's too scary or whatever. So I think this is going to be an interesting one, Sergio. I think I'm gonna off the top of my head, I'm gonna think you're gonna be like, whoa, this is too much. But
Fair.
but at the same time too, I think it's just about enough. I think it's something that definitely piqued my interest for sure. So
Yeah,
I'm curious. Yeah, I'm curious what Sergio thinks. But the like going back to like some of your earlier work, you did a lot of TV and you worked on stuff like Law and Order, SVU, which Tony and I are big fans of. It's our favorite of the Law and Orders.
yeah.
So how early in your career? Because I know there was a lot of there's a lot of actors. If you go back and watch like the earlier seasons, you see a lot of like actors early in their careers and stuff. So how early into your career was it that you were able to do SVU?
I did it back in 2018, so it feels like not that long, but it's been a while now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like kind of like I mean, I don't live in New York. I live in LA, so getting to do that show, but is very much a rite of passage in New York. I know for sure. I mean, it's like you've officially like made it when you've done Law and Order. It's kind of like here. I also did it Criminal Minds, and that's very much a similar thing here. It's like it's kind of also a rite of passage for actors to be on that show because it was on for so long. And it was an incredible experience. I had no thought I was going to book that. It was my first time auditioning for the show, first time auditioning for the casting director. And I went in, I was a self-tape that I submitted, and I went in, and for anyone that doesn't know what that means, it's, they send you the slides and you put yourself on tape and you send it in. And I went in thinking, okay, I'm just going to do hopefully my best work and make a fan of the casting director so that they'll, call me back in the future. I had no thought that I would book it. I wanted to, because I felt like the role made sense for me. But I also knew that I was like, oh gosh, like I'm here in LA. They're going to cast someone in New York, or they're going to cast someone they know or have seen before, or whatever. And so I sent my tape on a Monday. And then I found out the next day that, that they casting really loved it and they were moving on to producers and they were going to see, 3 live actors and 3 tapes. And then, and that was going to happen Thursday. And then Thursday around like 6:00 my time, I got the call from my reps that I booked it. And then I was on a plane on Sunday. So It was and then we started shooting on Tuesday. So it was very quick. And I couldn't believe it. It was, it was one of those where like, wait, what? That's okay. All right, let's, and it was a great experience. And people that are, big fans of the show often know the episode. And I probably recognize from that show more than anything, which is funny.
Plus it's on, I mean, the show's on all the time. So it's like, do you ever stumble across it? Like when you're flipping through channels?
I have, yes. Yeah. Or people will send me messages like your episode is on, which is awesome. I was in Canada and a woman came up to me. I was at TIFF, the film festival, and a woman came up to me and recognized me from the show. And it's just like, it's such a phenomenon, as it should be. I mean, Mariska is amazing. Everyone in the cast and crew were incredibly nice and supportive.
That's awesome. That's good to hear. As a fan of the show, it's good to hear that they're cool.
If they would ever have me back, I know I died in my episode, so I'd have to be a different character. But if they ever had me back, I would come back in a heartbeat because they were awesome.
Nice.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, there's some people that are just strictly TV too. Because you have people that are like, for me, it's always been movies. There's some people like, I can't sit there for an hour and a half, 2 hours and watch a movie. So I'll sit there for, which makes no sense, an hour to watch an episode. But
Yeah.
some people are just strictly, I'm just going to watch TV, and then you have super fans in for film and super fans for TV. Is there a difference between filming like, well, I'm guessing for like a full length movie and a TV show? Like, what are the differences between the two?
I mean, it's funny because I liken like a TV show to kind of an indie film in the
Okay.
sense that you're moving quickly, and because you're filming a 42-minute episode. Say it's network TV.
Hmm.
Speaking strictly to network, I did The Lincoln Lawyer, which was on Netflix, but it was a different case for me because I had a smaller role. But for network TV, you're doing 42 minutes in like 7 or 8 days. Like for SVU, we shot in 8 days. Criminal Minds was like 7 days. Station 19 was like a similar 7, 8 days. And so it's a lot in like a small amount of time if you're thinking about like what they're doing and material, and it's a lot. So I feel like my indie film experience kind of helped me with the TV, because I know that, okay, I'm only going to probably get 3 or 4 takes if I'm lucky, and like, so we need to nail it on really take one, and then the rest of them are the director going to like hopefully be able to play and like, oh, let's try this or that, but you're not trying to like just nail it. Like you're not trying to just you don't have time to find it. Whereas on a big feature film, ones that cost millions, you might spend a whole day on one scene, when you don't get that in indie films, and you definitely don't get that on TV, at least in my experience. Even being the guest star, you're moving quickly. You're doing your big long talks in a, they have 2 cameras maybe, and you're doing maybe 2 or 3 takes, and then they're moving on because they don't have time. So in that respect, I feel like they're the same in that regard. And then of course, like for TV, you have all the nice bells and whistles. Often, you have like the nice trailers and all of the actor comforts, I call it, that maybe you don't have on the smaller budget movies. Which are nice, not necessary, but nice, depending on what you're filming. Yeah, it's kind of all. I mean, no matter what I'm doing, I always try my best to like bring it on take one, and then whatever happens from there, it's play after that.
Yeah. I was you when we were briefly talking about like that when I asked if you had seen it on TV, come across the episode, is it made me think of when one of your co-stars in the movie, Sean Whalen. I was moderating panels at a convention, and he was one of the guests at the convention. And in the morning, I woke up and I turned on Comedy Central, and Scrubs was on, and he was on the episode of Scrubs.
Yeah.
And I went down and I was just like, "Hey, you were just on Scrubs," and he's just like, "Yeah." He's like, "It's all the time." He's like, "Oh," like, because he's on so many TV shows, like he's been on so many things,
Right.
and I'm like, but how does that like? I'm the kind of guy, like, I don't want to see myself. I don't want to hear myself. I'm like, it must be like hell if you're that kind of person, and you're like, "Hey, every time I turn the channel, I'm on TV. This stinks."
Well, I
But
mean, especially if you're on those shows and you're in all the episodes, you're
yeah,
probably going to find yourself much more on it than not on it.
yeah, yeah. But it's I mean, it's a good problem to have, I guess. To,
Yes,
to accidentally stumble across yourself on a on TV show. It's like,
yeah,
whoops.
yeah. If you're an actor, it's a champagne problems.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
good term. We're
Speaking of Sean Whalen,
yes.
with the when he came to you with the story for Crust, it's like the beauty of indie horror, or I guess indie in anything, is like sometimes you get the most ridiculous like storylines or like plots, and it makes a movie great. Like when he came to you with that, with like a sock monster. What is did you read it and you're like, I'm in, or did you read and you're like, okay.
Well, that's interesting enough. Similarly to Two Witches, so I originally wasn't going to play Neela. He had approached me to play a smaller part, and I was a fan of Sean, and just like in general as an actor and also as a person. We had been what we call friend acquaintances for quite a few years before that, and we like would go to each other's birthday parties and like hang, but we weren't like super close. But he knew that I was a character actor that often was like seen a certain way. So he was like, hey, would you be a part of this in some capacity? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And he's going to have a table read for like the investors and the producers. And the night before the table read, the actress that was supposed to play Neela couldn't make it. And they couldn't reschedule because it was just like they had already rescheduled a couple times, and it was just like everybody was coming. It was like 40 people. It was just too many to like. So he's like, unfortunately, we're just going to have to move on just for the read. And he asked me, he was like, will you read for her in the meantime? And I was like, sure, no, fully knowing it wasn't my role, but I was going to go in and give it my best because so they could hear it, because that was, then there were a lot of changes after that. But, and I thought the script was, like you said, it was fun and quirky, and like, it was personal to him as well. And I knew that. And I thought, what a fun little story. And after the table read, him and I just had like a interesting chemistry that was kind of palpable in the room. And I think a lot of people just kind of saw that. And especially us being, two kind of character actors, that was my first romantic lead. I'd never been cast that way. And so it was, time went on after that, and there's several iterations and things were happening. Like they were going to make a short film, and then it was like, and then all of a sudden it just kind of, I didn't hear about it for a while, and I kind of moved on. And then he called me in December before we made it and was like, I'm going to make the way, and will you play Neela? And I was like, yes. Yeah. I thought it would be such a fun, she's such an interesting, I'd say way cooler than me, character that someone I hadn't played. And so it was kind of for me, it was a easy yes, because I knew that, he was really passionate about it, and he was going to make the best movie that he could.
Nice. Back on Traumatika, I just wanted to make sure I was saying the name right.
Yes.
I do want to play the trailer because we're just about the halfway point.
Okay.
So here's the trailer for Traumatika. We'll be right back in 2 minutes, 2 seconds. Here we go.
Child is believed to have been abducted from his home over 9 months ago. This is the 4th child abduction in the past 12 months in the Los Angeles County area.
There's a demon. Preys on children.
Don't make a sound. If I can hear you or see you, then the monster will come and get you.
You look nervous.
What have I done? I'm so sorry I brought it here. Brought what?
Child's in the house. The child.
I like the one quote. It just says utterly bonkers.
Yeah. It's a good way of describing the movie, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it looks sick.
Yeah.
Nice to see it. I hope you dig it for sure.
Oh yeah, I'm
And it's
sure.
one of those things where it didn't give too much away from it. It had, it's it caught you, but it wasn't like I still wonder what's going on the
Yeah,
whole
there's
time.
still plenty that has not been shown. Like that's really kind of just beginnings of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just over the weekend had another situation where we were looking for a movie to watch at my in-laws' house, and we watched a trailer, and I'm like, we just saw the whole movie. Like,
Oh
it
yeah.
showed two murders
Yeah.
in the trailer,
Yeah.
and I'm like, this, like,
Yeah.
like I'm like, I don't understand, like, like what are these trailers doing? It was like a 10-minute trailer.
Yeah, they're
Get it?
a lot are bad now with giving too much away. I mean, you obviously want to give enough to intrigue, but you don't want to give away huge plot points that are, especially like if they're the twist, or
Right.
the thing that's revealed. Like you're giving, like, trust your audience that they'll want to see it without all that. That's why I love Barbarian. That was
Mm.
because when you saw the trailer, you thought it was solely about two people that like are both booked the wrong Airbnb. They made it where he seemed like he was going to be the bad guy, and they played off that because he just came off being Pennywise, and so that's what they leaned into, and that's kind of all they told you, and that was enough.
Yeah.
And then when you saw it, you're like, okay, there was so much more. Like I don't need to know. Like I think if they had told us all the rest, it would have given away too
Oh,
much.
totally. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
really liked Barbarian. We actually, before you jumped on, we were just talking about how we saw Weapons over the past weekend, and the same director, and just how it was another wild ride with Weapons as well.
Yeah, and it's funny because like after you watch the movie, if you go back and watch the trailer, then there's certain things that then make sense.
Oh yeah,
But when you just see the trailer before you seeing the movie, I don't think it gives too much away. I mean, there's certain things you're like, oh, interesting that they put that in, but you don't really know the context until you see the film.
Mhm.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm getting to the point where it's like I'll watch the first trailer and then I like don't want to see any more trailers because you're telling us too much.
And lately, I've been trying to not watch as many trailers, which stinks because it's also keeping me completely out of the loop.
Yeah.
I'm saying, but like I'm like because trailers just giving away way too much. Like I keep seeing like different trailers. They look like different trailers anyways for like one movie that I'm interested in. But I've already seen one trailer and I'm already interested, so I don't want to see any more.
What's the movie?
That movie Good Boy.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I don't want to see anything else. Don't show me anything else.
Yeah, you know that one, Tony?
That's the one where it's like perspective from the dog or
Oh,
whatever.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like all I need to know. I don't need to know anymore.
Yeah, I probably didn't even need to see the first trailer. Like the fact that it's a horror movie told from the perspective of a dog. That
Is
I'm
enough.
sold. I'm sold on that because that's original, and I love dogs. And it's like, as long as nothing happens to this dog, I'm fine.
I think that was a big thing, and they said no.
Right. And it's not even like I believe it's not even like an actor dog. I think it's the director's dog.
This dog, because people are like, I'm not going to watch it if anything happens to the dog. Like, and I think a lot of people would feel that way. So they've already said that the dog is fine. Like, and I think that's probably smart.
Hopefully he's not lying. And I was right. Sergio said, no thanks, no way. When he saw the trailer. It's too scary looking for him, is what it is.
Well, there's another movie I did called The Veil that is more of a like thriller mystery.
Mhm.
Also with Sean O'Brien that played my dad in Traumatika. And it's like not that I think it's a really beautiful story kind of about redemption. And it has a few like moments of horror, but it's less like this. So if he likes more of that, like I would highly recommend that movie for him that I mentioned. It's a horror, but not in that way.
Yeah, not in the extreme horror or anything like that.
Yeah.
Now, with the trailer, it showed plenty of makeup and stuff. There was that one scene in the bed, and still, I watched the trailer like 3 times, and it still gets me every time I see it. But you had makeup on this any more intense than any other one you had?
No, it was just me. No. So that's actually chocolate syrup, just so you know. So it's supposed to be like a black kind of goo, from the demon. It comes like once Sean O'Brien's character is possessed, um, passing on to me, the possession on to me. And so in the we were filming that scene. It was like the last scene of the day, and we were kind of short on time, and so that scene was kind of very chaotic. And Pierre's like, "You just gonna have to trust me. Like, it's gonna look great." I was like, "Okay." And then of course that's like a lot of what they're using for the marketing. And he's like, "See, it was worth it. It looks great." I'm like, "You're right. You're right." But that was an intense scene, just because it was like the demon and the dad and stuff was in the mouth, and it was just a lot going on. But our makeup artist Ko, she did all of the like blisters that you see it on my character, and she's incredible. She did all that by herself. The demon is all practical. That's all makeup as well. So.
Was there any kind of like CG like enhancements?
Very little. I mean, my black eyes are CG because, we could have done contacts, but I appreciate that I didn't have to wear them just because it was hard. But there's not very little, just kind of in some enhancements, but not most of it was practical.
Okay. Sergio is asking what's next. So what do you have coming up after this?
So I have a film I wrapped in March called Swipe that I'm acting in, and also my first film as a producer as well. It's another horror film with Lane Hendricks from Parent Trap, Hanna from Pitch Perfect, a bunch of other awesome actors. And that one is about a guy that swipes right on a dating app. And when he goes to meet the woman, he gets drugged and wakes up in a basement, and he's been kidnapped by this woman and her 3 crazy daughters. And I play his sister that's trying to save him along with 2 of his friends. So it's kind of an adventure horror, I guess, is a good way to describe it. We shot in New Jersey, and it was very cold and a crazy shoot. And I'm excited we're just kind of getting into sound and music and all of that good stuff after we've locked the edit. And then I have another film called Regression that I'm just an actor in that I wrapped last October. And it's kind of about past life regression and what that would look like if somebody did it and then their past lives started to like infiltrate into their real life. So I play one of the past lives. So I'm not giving too much. Yeah.
Now, you said that you kind of like not fell into horror, but it kind of came with the progression. Now, producing, is that what it is too? Like, did you see yourself, kind of taking that step? It's like acting to producing to maybe directing at some point in time. Is that what you always thought about doing? Or since you've been in the business for a while, you're like, I want to try my hands at that?
I mean, honestly, yeah, like the latter. I mean, it wasn't necessarily something I set out to do initially. But being an actor these days, just being an actor is really tough. The industry itself is just not the last 5 years have been rough with, obviously the pandemic and then the strikes and then the fires. And has been a lot on the actor's plate for just waiting kind of for people to give you jobs. And if you look at like a lot of the big actors, they're also producing their own stuff now. I feel like it's no coincidence that Ryan Gosling, after he did Barbie with Margot Robbie, is now producing and has his own production company, after watching her doing that. So I feel like that's kind of where you also get to tell your own stories and be a part of the projects you want to be a part of and do the kinds of roles you want to play is when you're like doing your own stuff as well. And then of course you're still going to audition, you're still going to, just be an actor and stuff as well along the way. But it kind of gives me something to focus on, something to like do while I'm waiting for other stuff to come up as well. I'm not just sitting and waiting, because that's kind of just torture, just to put it bluntly.
Like when we're watching, like as fans, we're always that like what do they call it, the coach on the couch or whatever. It's like you're watching a movie and you're like, I could do much better, I would have did this different. Is that what you're like if you're acting or whatever, you're like, as you're doing it, you're like, I might have done this a little bit different. So maybe if I'm doing a, project, this is what I would do, kind of deal.
Yeah, I mean that even with your own projects you're in, like just as an actor, sometimes you see stuff and you're like, man, I wish they had done that differently, or I wish they had, that poster was better, or that trailer was better, or the movie was better, like, whatever the aspect of it. And it does give you a sense of over quality control over what you put out, because you do have a say in like what goes out. As an actor, you have no say. You have, unless you're a big name and you have, that in your contract as just a normal actor, your job ends when you're done on set, and then you might promote it, but you don't get any say in like the cut of the film or the music or the sound or the color or anything that's to do with post or the trailer or marketing or nothing. So this is a way of like, of having a say and having whatever, if you put it out, if it's good or bad, your name is on it. So there is that aspect of like, okay, this is my project, and this is what I want to say with it, or this is kind of the kind of quality I want to put out. If that makes sense. Because it's hard not to when you see something and you're like, oh man, I wish they had done that, differently.
Yeah, I would have done. Like we say it many a times where it's like, we look at it and we're like, oh, we would have did so much different, but nothing ever comes from it. We never took that extra step to be like, okay, let's make something of our own.
We just shut up about it. Like, what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, all right, you sit there and be like, I would have done that differently. Be like, but I didn't. So they did. So until I do it, then I'll just be quiet about it.
Yeah, there also is something to be said about it's much easier to like criticize than it is to do, right? Like it's so easy for people to sit on their high horse and like judge a film, and like, wow, it was crap. Can't believe they put that out, while they've never put out a film ever. Right. So, there is something on both sides to be said about that. Is it's a miracle, as they say, it's a miracle to make a film. It's even more of a miracle to make a good film. And Seth Rogen recently said, like, as hard as everything is, nothing good should ever come out because it's so hard to make good stuff. People don't realize. I think we kind of take for granted that like a film should just be good, and we don't always see all the things that happen for why it's not as good as it could be.
Wolfie, one of our
co-hosts.
Yeah, older co-host.
In a couple sense of the word.
Yeah. Hey, wink, wink. Saying, you play piano. Would you ever think of scoring any of the films you produce? And do you have any kinds of horror films you would like to make, like a vampire, a werewolf, etc.? Like, is there any kind of horror film that you haven't made that you're like, one of these days I'd like to be in this subgenre of horror?
I mean, vampire would definitely be fun. Yeah. I would play a good vampire. Like Let the Right One In is such a great film.
Oh yeah.
I even thought I liked Let Me In as well. I thought it was
I did too. I saw Let Me In first, and then I saw Let the Right One In, and I was like, this is so much better. But it's
welcome to the watered down from America, where it's just
I know, but it was still but Let Me In was still good.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
It was for a makeup film. I thought it was pretty solid.
I mean, it was good enough to make me search out the original.
Yeah. I mean, just the rawness of the movie is just so brilliantly done from, the original one. So I like being in like a vampire kind of film like that would be really fun.
Yeah.
I've never played a vampire like that.
Especially one that's like cool like that. Like,
yeah. It's
not
like,
just, not just like a cheesy vampire movie, but like I don't really see any really cheesy vampire movies anymore anyways. They're all trying to go like the serious route, which I enjoy.
Well, half of them that come out are now reboots, like Nosferatu and stuff like that. So, I mean, they have some good stuff to go off of.
Yeah, that's true. That's
But
true.
the other part of the question is, would you ever score a film?
I don't know. I mean, I play piano, but I didn't do a lot of my own, like making my own music. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe one day.
Yeah.
Uh, and
So
maybe one day I'll tackle that, but probably not anytime soon.
yeah. Well, yeah. Don't say never, right?
Yeah.
So one of these days. So you just like you don't write music. You just play music.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've done a little bit, but nothing to the extent of I can't say I'm a composer by any means. Like
Mm.
that would be an insult to people who are.
It was a good question to know, Wolfie.
That is a great question. That is
Yeah.
a great question.
Thanks. Thanks, Wolfums.
I never, I don't think I've ever had that question. So
There you go. Wolfie, chalk it up. Put it on your list of questions never asked.
yeah,
You had said before that you've been watching horror since you were like 11, I think you said.
yeah.
What was that first horror movie?
It was the It miniseries,
Oh, okay.
and I watched it at a friend's birthday party. I convinced her parents to let us rent it at Blockbuster. I don't know. I don't know why they said yes.
Nothing
My
says
poor
party.
I scarred her for life, and she's so sweet. They live in San Antonio, and they went and saw the movie, even though she does not like horror. She went to support, and I was like, oh, that means so much, especially knowing that she's not her favorite genre. But her daughter, her oldest daughter, loves horror, so I was like, that's what you get, that's the payback, I guess. Yeah, so that was my first experience, and then I remember going home the next day and like asking my parents if they would take me to like re-rent it because I wanted to watch it again. I felt like I didn't really get to really see it because the girls were too busy like laughing and screaming and like making a fuss. So I was like, I had to rewatch it, and then from then on, I've just like I try to see everything that I can. That's I feel like is interesting to me.
Yeah. Yeah, that one affected me as a child as well. It definitely it left a mark, that one. But for me, Poltergeist was the first one that really like, okay, I'm losing sleep over this. But I thought that was the best TV miniseries like I had ever seen, and then I saw Salem's Lot like years later, and I was like, wow, this is even better. But
Yeah, it's the original one. That's great. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, so that's interesting. It's always interesting to find out what your first horror memory is. So that's good.
And I have no idea why I wanted to watch it. I don't know. 11, late bloomer. Yeah. I don't know if it was somebody who was talking about it at school. I don't know like what possessed me to like want to rent that movie. That part I don't remember.
Yeah.
Well, the beauty of like video rental stores is the cover. Maybe it was like I don't remember. Well, there's so many different iterations.
Pennywise is on the cover. Right. Well, normally
Depends. Depends on.
He was
there's
doing
some-
great with the tentacles too.
Yeah. I remember there's like 3 or 4 different ones that I remember that caught my eye, but this is also years after I already saw the movie.
Right.
But it's one of those things where, the beauty of horror movies is the different cover arts that you have. I mean, video stores are now a thing of the past, but going in there, you had that, even if the movie was the worst thing ever, it could have had the best cover art, and you're like, here, let me check this one out. And you're like, this has nothing to do with the movie, but they did what they were supposed to. Well, what they set out for.
The cover
and
sold the movie.
I rented it exactly.
Yeah, they sucked you in with the cover art. Yeah, for sure. It's so. I mean, even posters nowadays are. I mean, a lot of times people it's like if the poster looks bad, I'm like, I don't know that I'm going to watch it because if you can't make a good poster, I don't know if the film's going to be any good.
Yeah, there's been sometimes and I'll be honest, we've had some movies on where I'm just like, oh, this poster is not that great, but the movie was great, or vice versa. Like the poster looks awesome, or the cover looks awesome, and the movie was like okay.
Yeah.
But there's been so many movies.
You rented it or watched it or whatever. So they did their job in that respect.
Yeah. But there's been so many movies that I've rented over the years that I just took a chance. Like the cover looked okay, but it's ended up being my favorite movie like for years, The strangers chat. Oh, sorry. There's other people asking about movies in the chat. But anyways, we're getting close to the point of where we have to start wrapping things up. So I want to make sure you're able to get your plugs out there. So where can people go to follow like what's going on and like with your career and news on any new releases or anything? Where can people follow you?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram at Becca, Bekahk. I'm also on X. I'm on Facebook, and then I'm also on TikTok. So, and if you like Google my name with any of those, they'll pop up as well. And I'm pretty responsive to people that leave me messages or comments. So, you can say that you're from the show. I like to know how people found me. So,
Nice. And you said October 7th is when Traumatika is going to be streaming on your VOD platforms out there.
Yeah.
And then eventually it'll be somewhere landing on a streaming service, maybe Shudder or something like that.
Yeah, some like Two Witches is on Shudder. I don't know if Traumatika where it will land, but we'll see. Yeah.
Nice. Tony, what about yourself? Where can people go to follow you?
You can find me at Tony Has Nine Fingers on YouTube, which I haven't done a video in forever, but I have enough of a backlog where you can watch my videos where I talk movies and stuff. Tony Has Nine Fingers on X, which I have, but I don't use. Tony Has Nine Fingers on TikTok, which is my fastest growing platform. So find me there most of the time, showing off movies, reviewing movies, just doing some dumb stuff on there. Tony's Movies on Instagram, where I show off the movies behind me. And of course, here on the Wicked Horror Show, most Tuesdays, whether we have awesome guests or it's just horror movie talk, find us here most of the time. Kevin.
Yep. Just A Knuckle on Instagram. And you can also, besides this show, you can also check out old episodes of The Re-Education of Nancy Ann Ritter and also old episodes of That Strange Show. Yeah, Wolfie's saying Tony twerking on TikTok. Tony has over 30,000 followers on TikTok right now, so that twerking is working.
Hey,
so,
yeah, whatever you got.
There you go.
Listen, if I ever did that, I would get sued because people would go blind. So I do not do that. So
well, depends on how you shoot it, I guess. I'm not on TikTok. Not like that, anyways. I haven't been on TikTok in forever, but yeah. So follow our awesome guests. Go check out the movie on October 7th, or if it's in the theater in your area, go check it out on the big screen because that's the way it's meant to be seen. And thank you very much for coming on. And the movie looks awesome, and I can't wait to check it out. And yeah, we'll see you guys later.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Yep.